just in the CBD, Central Business District here in Chaoyang, checking out some of these amazing tall skyscrapers. Today, while I'm over here, I really want to go to a park, one that I've never been to, and so we can share a new adventure together. Maybe you've actually been there, but in all my years living here, I never came over to Chaoyang Park, which is huge. Need to find an oasis from the busy and loud city streets of Beijing? Look no further than any of its amazing urban parks. Let's explore a couple of these today. The first being the largest park in the city located on the northeast side, and then head down to a smaller park in the Taoranting neighborhood. You could easily spend an entire day strolling around these green spaces, with trails leading you to gardens, lakes, restaurants, and lots of activities for the little ones. This is really nice. There's a subway stop that just takes you right to the park here. And like most of the other parks here in Beijing, I think it's going to be massive with several lakes and lots of places to run around. I think it probably also costs a little bit of money, which is pretty standard here, but I don't mind. And it's usually like just $1 or $2 or even less. It's really not much to go inside these parks. Wow. That actually didn't cost anything to come in here. Again, I really don't mind paying the fee, but I didn't realize it wasn't going to cost a dime. Pleasantly surprised. Now, I think this park is more frequented by the expat community here in Beijing because this is kind of where they all live and hang out. I lived on the other side of the city on the west side, and you know, there are lots of parks over there, so I never had a reason to come over to this one, which is probably why I never visited. You can rent a 4-person bicycle. And they've got blossoming trees here. It is the springtime. Really looking pretty. You got big open spaces here. I'd imagine people come out here to exercise and do probably like group dancing or, you know, group activities. I saw a group of men not too long ago over in a corner with their saxophones out, probably like 10 of them, and they're just playing their saxophones together, which I think is pretty cool. Again, that's what parks are really for here. Well, this is the part of the park that has a lot of these games and carnival rides set up for children. That's kind of fun, and it makes a really great place, you know, if you have a family and you want to come out and do stuff together, especially little kids. There's a couple right over here doing a wedding photo shoot. But it's because they have this really nice, older, European-looking facade here. So far, most of this park has just been dedicated to like kids' games and little rides and stuff, but I think I am coming to a point where I'm going to get to an area for more like just walking around the park with some lakes. Now, a lot of these green spaces, big parks in Beijing do have areas where they have stuff for the kids and families, but this is probably the biggest one I've ever encountered, so I can imagine this park is really more for, again, parents with young children. Well, this is a nice little canal area that I found. Very quiet back here. No more kids running around. Across the way over there in the woods, I can see like a lot of, I don't know, equipment for doing like training and, you know, climbing up the trees and ropes. When I was here, I was teaching children years ago. And they used to call me Da Lawai, big foreigner. Probably just because I'm a little bit tall. Definitely taller than a 3-year-old. I came into the park on the south side, and now I'm making my way to the north section. And this should be an area with some bigger lakes. So it probably will look quite a bit different than what I've been seeing so far. Now I'm over by the lakes, and this is a very different vibe. There are people with tents and blankets down, having picnics and just enjoying the day. It's incredible how big this park is. I've already been walking for 30 minutes, and I have 30 more minutes to get to the other side. But I feel like that's kind of normal here. Whereas if you're in other cities around the world, they usually have some large urban parks, but maybe 1, maybe 2 in the cities. But here, there's like 20 or 30. Something I just noticed here, I didn't even think about it, but there are a lot of people running and jogging, which you don't see a lot at parks usually in China. Some pretty tulips back there. And I am starting to see a few more non-Chinese people walking around here. A few more non-locals. Oh, I'm getting a little tired, and it's getting a lot warmer, so I'm starting to sweat. I may have to take off my light overshirt. But yeah, I think this is about 2 miles from top to bottom of this park. And I'm not too far away. There's actually a subway stop that I came out of in the beginning, and then there's another subway stop I'm walking to. So you could come to either one to get into the park here. If you come to the south one though, it's a lot more kids friendly kind of stuff. And then up here feels more like the adult section of the park. So just kind of keep that in mind if you decide to come over here. But you could also walk the whole thing because it's a great area. I love the fact that there are several man-made lakes, and they're not massive, but you can rent boats and go out in the water. I don't think they allow swimming here, but then again, that's never really stopped anybody here in China. They have a pen right there with llamas and deer, and I think you pay a little bit of money and they'll let you feed them. That's really cute. Oh, this is kind of fun. This is like a canopy of so many blossoming trees. It's so cool. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, I'm gonna be sneezing so badly later because of this. But it, again, just really cool to be surrounded by all these trees here. Ooh. Too many. I'm surrounded. I can't find my way out. I guess it's not the worst place in the world to be lost. Well, all in all, I really enjoyed this park. To be fair and true, it's not one of my favorites in the city, but it's still a great green space to come to, especially if you want to go out and jog, because I saw so many people running, and it is quite large with lots of trails. But I think I have one more park I want to try to visit before I have to leave Beijing today. So I need to get on the subway and go to the south side of the city really quick. All right, so I promised one more park visit today. And again, this is another one I've never been to. But this one, I don't really have an excuse because this was one of my old neighborhoods in the city. I lived 10 minutes away from this park and I never walked over to check it out the whole year I lived in this area. So that's my bad. But you know, it's also kind of that saying when you talk about if you live somewhere and you're working all the time, there are a lot of things that you just don't do because you always think, well, I can do it later, or, you know, I'm too tired. And then time goes by and you just never try it. So making up for lost time over a decade later, better late than never, right? Now I should be getting close. All I think I have to do is cross over this main road right here. It's kind of busy, but the park should be on the other side of it, just right in front of me. Okay, there's actually a canal over here too that you walk across. That's kind of cool. I don't know if you can even see them, but up there in the sky, I'm looking at like 10 or 15 kites. And those are definitely coming from people inside the park. There's just a wall right next to me right now. Unfortunately, the weather has turned a little bit grayer and darker, but that's all right. More typical of older Beijing when I first moved here and they had really bad pollution, but it's still not that bad. Back then, you know, some days we wear a mask. Even sometimes school would be canceled for the children because it wasn't healthy to be outside. Okay, I'm having a little trouble getting into this park, but I think it's because it's very local and it is a neighborhood park. Chaoyang's really just for everybody. But I'm following my maps here, so I should find an entrance somewhere. Okay, so I did finally get in the park, but it was a little confusing and difficult. I eventually just paid cash because they wouldn't accept Alipay or WeChat. They do that sometimes, especially if it's very, very local. They want a local phone number to go with your payment, which I do not have. In fact, if you're coming here as a foreigner, you probably don't. So if you're going to visit this one, make sure to bring cash. You know, I already like this park better, and it is only about half the size, but I just think the way it's laid out is prettier. The architecture and landscaping here definitely make this park incredible. I would say this park is much more of like a traditional Chinese style. Once you walk past the front gate there, where I was, you come out to a much bigger lake here with lots of little pagodas and bridges. Even structures here that are from probably like the Tang Dynasty style. It's really, really nice. Definitely worth the fact that it was a little bit harder to get into. And again, I lived 10 minutes from this park and never bothered to check it out. I'm glad I came now, and maybe I'll have to come back on a future visit, especially if it's a nicer day. Anyway, thanks for joining me again on one of my adventures here, and hopefully I'll be back again pretty soon to Beijing. I've got to catch a train really soon, and there'll be more adventures in China coming up, so you know, hopefully you can learn something from these, find some places you like, and just enjoy the adventure with me. Stay safe, healthy, and happy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me today. Life's a journey meant to be shared. Remember to always travel with an open heart and an open mind. Enjoy the ride and keep your eyes on the horizon for the next adventure. I'll see you out there.